Welcome to the Lovely Dots podcast, where we believe that our words matter, giving you proof that you can change the world one word at a time. And you get to be 100% real. So let's have fun.
Welcome back to the Lovely Dots podcast. I'm Amy.
And I'm Nikki. And today we're going to be talking about what Amazon can't get their hands on. And that is gifts that can have long-lasting transformational effects on people.
Yeah. Life-changing and encouraging and maybe different than what you're expecting to hear today.
Yeah. So I really think that there's like a power behind this that people don't really recognize a lot. And you know, we all know what it feels like to receive a gift. Mm-hmm. But you know, I think there's a lot less focus put on what it feels like to give a gift. And it's really interesting because there's some science that basically says that you actually release more dopamine as the giver than the receiver. You know, in which we know from scripture, it's more blessed to give than it is to receive, which totally aligns. But turns out that's true in science as well.
I mean, just think about being a parent and like getting your kid a good gift and like watching them open it and seeing the joy. Like, I feel like that is so like powerful for you as a gift giver, you know?
Yeah. But really, I think that it's not necessarily about the physical thing. Like, and it all starts back to, you know, our core concept of words and conveying to people their worth and their value and make them feel seen. And I think one of the biggest ways that begins is with compliments.
Okay. So not just like talking about birthday gifts or Christmas gifts, but like it starts with how we talk to people.
Yeah, like your everyday business. And, you know, like, I think that is what I'm kind of getting at, this power behind being able to change somebody's perspective by what you say and giving them a light into the reality of what their world and how people see them and just the effect they have is by the words that you use. And, you know, I think it's really interesting because it can really change with the different verbiage that you use. So, like, you know, I can say the same thing, but how I say it will make all the difference of whether or not it sticks in your brain and you remember it 5 years from now versus, oh, yeah, that was really cool. Thanks, Nikki. But, I mean, I'm glad you like my purple shirt, but whatever.
Yeah. Do you think that people have a hard time giving compliments and receiving compliments, or what's up with that? And
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's hard.
So you're that kind of person that wants to dodge them?
Yeah, like I don't mind so much maybe trying to like come up with a compliment to give somebody, but like when somebody compliments me, it's almost like, oh, is that really true? Or are they just saying that to be nice? Or like I overthink it instead of just accepting it maybe?
Yeah, which is so damaging.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that I think it's a study out of Stanford actually was talking about, saying that when you dodge a compliment, either because you think you're being humble or because you don't think that you're worthy of it, it has several effects. And one of those is obviously on yourself. Like, you're basically not allowing this light to speak into you. And that does change you. So it's kind of like you're taking it as a put down, even if people are saying something nice internally. And then, you know, it's also a bad thing for the person who's giving this to you, because they had taken this time to, you know, go out of their way with energy, thought, you know, love to give you this, and you've rejected it. So it comes across as rejection to them, but then it hurts the bond. So it's essentially like a subconscious way of saying our relationship isn't as tried and true. It's just not as connected. And so then it's damaging to the trust of the relationship, which nobody thinks past, like, oh, I'm just, you know, oh, I thank you for saying my hair's nice. It's really not that nice today. It's humid.
It's humid. Oh, it's amazing. Or like coming up with an excuse for like why that's not true, or you know. So like, first of all, I guess, how do we be better about accepting compliments, or how do we need to respond?
Yeah, I mean, if it's as simple as thank you, like, you're going to say more, but if it's as simple as that is okay.
It's a good place to start.
It's a good place to start, you know. But I do think this goes back to, like, okay, reflecting, like, why did they think to say this to me? Like, people they want to be real, they want to be genuine, especially if they're going out of the way to say something.
Right.
Usually it's like, you know, they had to step out of their comfort zone at least a little bit.
Because the almost like the unconscious fear of the rejection, like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
the rejection of the compliment. So to be like, okay, I'm gonna say this to this person, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a big deal. It really is a big deal.
So how do we get out of our comfort zone and be more willing to give compliments, I guess?
Well, giving them, I think, really goes back to like remembering, okay, I'm making an actual impact here.
Mhm.
This is not just about making someone feel good. This is about transforming somebody's perspective and their belief about who they are and the world that they live in. So, you know, that can be a huge, like, think about how that is with your kids. Like, you know, when they're playing sports or doing something achievement wise, and you're like, hey, that was an awesome kick. Like, good job. You know, like, that transforms their belief of
About themselves.
what they're able to do. And, you know, they may not think that they're able to do as much prior to this kind of a compliment. So like this is very transformational, and it happens just as much with adults as it does with children. We just don't think about it the same way.
I feel like that's something that you're so good at, like doing, is seeing things in people that, and I know for me because I've experienced it, but like the way that you are so willing to like see something that maybe I don't see, or maybe that I see as a negative thing, and you help me see like, wow, like that is true about me. And like it's such a blessing in our friendship that you're able to do that for me, you know? And so like thinking about that makes me want to be better about doing that for other people, because I know how it affects me, you know? So
Thank you.
No, thank you. Good response.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So this idea of like compliments being almost an initial form of gift giving, how do we kind of transform that, or like take that in further with this idea of gift giving?
Yeah. Well, that's something I've been super passionate about, because it's like, you know, okay, so we give gifts for everything, right? You know, like birthdays, weddings, Christmas, I mean, you name it. And it feels like to me, and it probably does to a lot of you, where you're just like, oh, I have to find another present. And then you're on Amazon, and you're like, what will get there in 2 days? Okay, that top is really cute, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, and that really has started to bug me, because, you know, with this idea that we're talking about behind compliments and really changing people's perspectives, I want the present that I give somebody to be more effective. I want it to be long lasting. I want them to feel really valued and seen. And, you know, just going on Amazon is not really cutting it. And, you know, it was really interesting. I think we kind of looked up a little while ago of like what the top 3 gifts were. I don't know. Do you remember what those are?
One of them was like jewelry.
Yeah.
So physical jewelry. Sometimes it was like personalized jewelry. Blankets was another top one. Alcohol was on there. So some of these things, and maybe clothes, you know? So some of these things, it's like, okay, this person may not buy for themselves, but is this really something that's going to show them that I love them, and not that I'm just buying them a gift because it's your birthday, or, you know? And I think I heard something earlier today about like, you could buy something that to someone might seem like an incredible gift, but if you're not being intentional, then it could turn out to actually be a negative or harmful gift to give. Like, I heard this guy bought his girlfriend like diamond earrings, beautiful diamond earrings, and wanted to give them to her, and he gave them to her, and she did not have her ears pierced. Like, that's hard. Like, imagine how bad maybe she would feel, and then maybe him too, that like he didn't even notice the fact that like she didn't have her ears pierced, you know? So it can be great if we're being intentional, I guess. And not to say that like personalized jewelry or things like that can't be amazing. In fact, I had a friend, and this is, I'll tell you what made it amazing. My friend Andrea, on Friday, she called me, or I think it was Friday, she called me and she said, hey, I have something for you, and I'm so excited to give it to you. And I was not anticipating, this is a normal day, no birthday, nothing, no reason at all. She comes over and she gives me this necklace that I'm wearing actually right now. And she said, I saw this and I thought of you and I had to get it for you. And I opened it, and when you look through the little gem there, there's a picture of me and my dad in the background. And I just started crying, because like, she did not have to do that. She took time and money to find something that would be meaningful to me. She even had to text my husband and ask like, what's like your favorite picture of Amy and her dad? So like, she had to take these different steps. And like, what a blessing it was. And now I have something that is personalized and really meaningful to me. But I think that's a lot of what gift giving should be.
Yeah, experiential.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's a lot of research behind that too. It's just so much more long lasting, even if you don't know it in the moment. That if it's experiential like that, like you're never gonna forget that emotional response that you had in the very beginning when you first got it. You will replay that every time you look at that little picture.
Yeah.
That's like the essence of what I think we want to accomplish here. Like, you know, when one of our friends is struggling, you know, and we go online to figure out what we should give them that maybe will make them feel better. You know, maybe some of us think a bottle of wine is and maybe
the answer.
Maybe, you know, sometimes that will have the emotional response. I'm not to judge on that at all, but you know, it if you're picking something that is going to have that effect,
like a lasting
yes
effect as well.
Yeah, you want to have that emotional connection, that emotional response, and I think it's hard to know what to pick. Obviously, that's kind of what we're talking about here, and that's a passion I have as well. Is like, how do we give people options of things that we can gift in the physical realm, not just compliments that are going to create this effect that have this like life-changing impact on people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be super expensive. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be diamonds. I love diamonds. Ryan.
I was gonna say, Ryan, that's for you, bro.
But you know, like there's so many ways that you can go about it, and especially with what we're creating with Lovely Dots right now, you know, we just want to make it easy. We want to take out all of the scary weirdness of jumping into this idea of giving gifts that are not just on holidays. For like your friend Andrea, like she clearly gets this. She's clearly a master.
She is. She gets it.
Like, I mean, I'm so impressed by Andrea, but it's like, you know, the ability to have this forethought of like, you know, I'm going to spend this a little bit of time. I'm going to create this impact and we're going to go do it. Awesome. But giving other people that haven't thought about this, haven't worked in this way before, an option to do that is kind of what our mission sort of is. And with Lovely Dots, you know, we're building something so it makes it easy for people to communicate without feeling like, oh, I have to go talk to this person and tell them these really deep things. You're kind of utilizing technology in a way that is working for us instead of against us.
And our hope is that we can maybe not only help people like change their perspectives about themselves. So like if I'm giving you this gift and trying to change your perspective, but like helping us as gift givers to change our perspective about giving gifts, because I know for me that it's so hard, like when holidays roll around, when you have lots of nieces and nephews and you're trying to figure out like, okay, what can I first of all afford to give, and am I just buying them more junk, or like, you know, what's their parents going to prefer that I get them, and like overthinking or just like stressing to the point that like, okay, I have 2 days left, I got to get on Amazon, I've got to put something in the basket and get it ordered, or else I'm not going to have gifts for them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard. We want to change people's like feelings and maybe perspective about giving gifts, and some people are more naturally like good about this, and I think most of us could be more naturally good if we change our perspective about gift giving.
Yeah, absolutely.
With talking about giving gifts, I think we can all agree that there's a pretty standard reason and time that we would give a gift, and I almost feel like there's some monotony in that, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder how like being more willing to be intentional with gift giving and almost more spontaneous maybe with gift giving, how that could affect our view of giving gifts or receiving gifts, and also like the joy that we feel in giving gifts. Because I feel like, for me at least, I struggle to feel like joyful in giving a gift to someone.
Well, and I think that has a lot to do with like what type of gift it is sometimes. But you know, there's a lot of hidden joy in the spontaneity of it, because you know, like your friend Andrea, like that wasn't just like something, oh, I've got to get Amy a present, it's our birthday, like we got to figure this out, I only have a week, whatever. No, she saw this thing and was like, we're going on this mission here. I want to uplift her and give her this boost right now. Like it's an immediate, it's a go after it, doesn't matter when type of a present. And I think there's a lot of power in that, because you know that somebody isn't just like doing it because they feel like they have to. They're not going to say, I'm going to save this for Christmas because I know I'll have to give a present then. You know, it's purely, I want to uplift this person and make them feel awesome.
So I feel like with like that kind of gift giving, you know, I didn't feel at all like Andrea gave me a gift because she needed or wanted something in return.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times it's, you know, obviously not for birthdays. Like for birthdays, like, okay, you're giving me a gift because it's my birthday. I'm not going to just reciprocate for you right now in this moment, but
Right.
for your birthday maybe. But like Christmas time, you know, we feel like, oh my gosh, Nikki got me a Christmas present and I didn't get her one and now I feel really bad. Or like, I wonder how much money she spent on that, instead of just accepting it and like
Yeah.
being thankful and maybe not worrying so much about like having to reciprocate, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like, the like stigma a little bit around gift giving. And like we've said, it's really easy to just find a physical gift of something that like, oh, Nikki would probably like this, I'm gonna give it to her.
Right.
And that's a little bit what I struggle with about gifts, is like, you know, I could just buy that for myself, you know. And when I think about it that way, it's like, man, where's the like meaning and the joy and the encouragement, uplifting in that, you know?
Yeah.
How do you think things could change for people if they more consistently gave gifts in spontaneity or with intention of receiving nothing in return?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you really hit on that. It's a mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think we really want to like propel in this community of Lovely Dots, is this mindset shift around letting people know they're awesome, but totally just going after it everyday life. Like it's an everyday event. It's just a normal Tuesday. And this is what we do. This is who we are. And I think most people are that way. They just have never had the cultural permission to act like it all the time. And, you know, like imagine the ripple effect that can happen if, you know, we have a lot of Andreas out there who are intentionally, like, just subconsciously, really, you know, it's so intentional and ingrained in them that it becomes subconscious, where they're just looking for ways that they can uplift people. Like that mind shift really helps like change their perspective, the person you're giving a gift to, but also yours on a daily basis, because that joy is real and palpable. That joy of being like, I am changing the world one word, one person at a time. Because, you know, like we've talked about before, like someone can say something nice to you and it can change your week.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that necklace has changed more than just a week.
Yeah. And it's grown our friendship and like our connection, like things like that. She's really good about doing little stuff like that all the time. And so I think giving gifts that are so intentional grows our connection with people.
Yes. And trust.
And trust, yeah, and your comfort. You know, I don't know, I think that's huge. But also with like talking about this mindset shift, or like the feelings that we have or emotions that we have when we receive a really intentional gift or give an intentional gift, it's kind of like a lot of what we've talked about in other episodes about like how it almost like changes like your biochemistry is probably not the right word, but like internally some things are probably physically happening inside of you.
Yeah, they are 100%. They're changing. And like I said, you get more of a dopamine hit when you are the giver than when you're the receiver. And I mean, you know, that is one thing that we look to find pleasure and joy, like things that give us dopamine hits all the time. Like imagine the effect that has on somebody that feels secluded, isolated, lonely, depressed. Like that continual hit, I mean, it makes a difference. You know, it's the same as exercise. Like it's crazy that the pharmaceuticals that your brain can create by just changing your mindset shift and determining that you're going to act differently. Like it is just incredible the change that you can make in yourself alone.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like I was sort of alluding to earlier, like the ripple effect that you create by deciding to do that. You know, it's not just that one person.
Or not just one day in time.
Yes, it's not. You know, and that's, you know, with Lovely Dots gifts, which are, you know, half digital and half a physical gift. It's a thing that you create to have this reminder of the beautiful words these people say about you. That's something you look at every day. That is something that, you know, is reminding that person on a daily basis. That person takes that out into the world with them, that it changes their mind about who they are and how they want to show up in the world, and also other people, because they remember that emotional connection of that gift they got and how that changed their life. So then it makes them want to do that for others. It's contagious.
Yeah.
This is not just a one-off
Yeah.
type of thing we're talking about here.
I think that's true, because I think there's so much more value in this than just like physically receiving a gift. And like you're saying, if it can be an encouragement, an uplift, and like almost life-changing for somebody to start to believe what people say is positive and true about them, then it's going to continue on into their daily life and how they treat people, like you said, and who they want to be.
Yeah.
You know, I think though there's some things in our world that maybe prevent us from being intentional or like giving good gifts. I don't know. What are some of those things you feel like we
Like excuses.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll say time, money, lack of ideas.
Yeah, I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
We're you know, I sometimes feel maybe not selfish but more like self-focused than I am like looking sometimes to the needs of others and how I could bless them, and so then that's my excuse, like, oh, I didn't even realize like I could have been helpful here, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's hard too. That's like a whole different conversation.
Sure.
Making time to actually consider some of these things. But, you know, like I said, if you make this more of a habit, then it becomes something that you're not having to think about. It just is.
Yeah.
It just is who you are.
Yeah.
And that's totally possible, totally doable. Like building that kind of a habit, you know, it's so much easier than it sounds. It really is, because it just starts with doing one, because it's addicting and contagious. So, yeah, the excuses of not doing some of this or giving good gifts, I think, are very easily overcome, and that it really doesn't have to be difficult. We don't have to make this something where we're buying diamond earrings.
Yeah.
Wish we could.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it could be as simple as leaving notes.
And that's what I was going to ask, is like, what are some simple things that we can do with either our time, our words, or our money to just like start making this a habit?
Like I love the leave the notes thing, because that's super easy on a Post-it to scribble something, put it on someone's car, put it on the mirror, put it on their desk, whatever it is, and it's, you know, non-confrontational. It doesn't have to be like you have to say it to their face to start with, so that kind of takes out some of the anxiety sometimes. But what are some other ways you can think of?
I mean, I think that for me, sometimes I try to be more intentional about this, but like literally shooting someone a text message like, I was thinking about you today, I miss you, I love you, or like trying to like tell them something about like why I miss you, like, I miss your bubbly personality in my life, let's get together, or like just taking a step out and trying to be more intentional with your words and your time. And that honestly only takes a few seconds to do something like that. But then it could lead to more connection with that person, maybe physical presence of connection. I think too, like trying to think through back to the compliment thing, trying to think through something that really I could say to somebody that is going to like impact them, other than just saying, because it's easy to be like, that color looks great on you, which it's true, but like, I love that you are serving today at the church coffee bar, like that is such a blessing to me, thank you for your servant's heart, or like something like that, because I think those things are true, but we don't say them out loud enough, and that could, maybe somebody's struggling, they're like, I really didn't want to be here this morning, and like saying that could maybe be like, like, I am doing something that's,
because it's specific and it's achievement oriented. It's not about who they are necessarily, it's about what they're doing. And I think not that you shouldn't compliment people on how awesome they are, but like, you know, that I think that's why that speaks so highly. So they're like, okay, so I've got momentum, I'm doing something good, I'm, you know, that
can keep going.
Exactly, encouragement.
And then I do think that there's a time and place for like that deeper level encouragement of people that maybe are struggling, and really trying to help them see who they are and their value, for sure. And I think obviously with strangers or people that you don't know very well, that's hard to do, and it's easier to just compliment someone's outfit or their hair or things like that. But like, like you said, kind of like, oh, I see you doing this today, you're doing great at that. But like, our people that we know and that we really do love deeply, trying to be more in depth maybe with how we try to encourage them.
With how you see them. And how they're valued, for sure.
Well, too, like I even think like grabbing someone a coffee and be like, I thought of you this morning when I was driving through the drive-thru, and like if you know you're gonna see them, or you're like on the way past their house dropping off a coffee, and just like letting them know that you love them, and just little things like that. So it's like you don't have to spend a bunch of money, but just doing something, or like even
no, that was a great idea. I like those three things.
We can do that.
Leave a note, text, or simple acts of kindness, for sure.
So we know there's some research behind types of gifts that we give. Like, we at Lovely Dots are moving in this direction of a video gift in cohesion with a physical gift too, but video gifts versus just getting like handed a physical gift. What are the benefits, and how does like research show that that affects our brain?
Yeah. So there's like a lot of psychology bits tied into this, but essentially, you know, when you're watching someone on a video talk about how great you are, for some reason your brain actually receives that information in a different way than if that person was sitting right next to you telling you.
Interesting.
So and I think that it's because there's some detachment, that you're not like worried about what they think as you're receiving this information. There's no concern about yourself. You're just taking in what they're saying
From a video. Okay.
Yeah. So you tend to believe it more. And I think that's really interesting and impactful. But then you put that along with, if you're watching somebody say something and hearing somebody say something, and just the more senses that you can bring into this experience, the more apt it is to create this very emotional response, which then triggers a deeper memory. Like it is a longer held memory when it's more emotional. And since what we're trying to do is create this video gift where it's not just one person talking about the gift recipient, it's multiple people. We're multiplying this effect. So we want to get the biggest bang for our buck here. And that's going to be this insane emotional response when you have all of these people saying how great and how awesome and how valued and how seen someone is. So sight, sound, deep emotional connection, and the fact that you're watching it on a video, so you're not preoccupied with yourself. That is bound to create a very big effect versus just getting a blanket in the mail.
And the ability for it to be so long lasting, like you can watch and rewatch, or you can share if you choose to, or, you know, like it can be a lifelong emotional connected gift versus something that you might sell at a garage sale in a few years, you know? Something you can go back to when you're feeling doubt or sadness. You know, that will always trigger that same emotional response. I mean, to me, that kind of gift is just almost priceless. And, you know, relatively easy too for people to put together. So that's one reason why I think that this type of gift is one of the best routes to go. Well, and because the idea of our words mattering so much, we've talked already in multiple episodes about how what we say affects people, can be positively or negatively. And this gives people a really like intentional opportunity with what they say, how they say it, and you know, maybe saying things that we wouldn't have the courage to do on a normal daily basis, or like that doesn't feel comfortable to do on a normal daily basis, but we know and realize how much this needs to be said.
Yeah. Like the barriers are a little bit broken down. You're talking to a camera, you don't have to talk to them to their face. You know that there's several other people doing the exact same thing, so you're not the only one putting yourself out there. Like it just feels a little less scary in a sense.
It kind of makes me think of like, you know, when you get a card for your birthday or something like that, there's like really nice words written in there, and sometimes we write like a note like on top of what's already written in a birthday card, and sometimes those words can have like an emotional effect on you. And I think for that reason, that's why some people save cards for years, you know, because of that almost is more important than the gift that they got, you know. But this being like attached to even more of our senses, like you were saying, our words, and then what we see, what we hear, and that emotional response, it's like an amplified, long-lasting version of this card idea.
Yeah, because unfortunately people don't give cards the way that they used to. My husband says, save the $5, just give me a gift card.
So he's gonna get coffee or something.
Which is hilarious because the man has like all these important cards saved, so he does value them.
It's true. I have been to your house and there was a card on your refrigerator.
I don't know, that was like a birthday or something.
It was a cheesy, goofy card. But no, it's true. And I think that the long-lasting effect, both like having the physical evidence that you can rewatch and listen to, but also the long-lasting internal effect that the way we give gifts can have on the giver and the receiver, is so beautiful.
But then taking that to the next level and then adding on this effect of actually having a physical gift, that also is tied to this emotional response we just had from this video gift is, I think, really fun.
Because it's personal. It'll be personalized to that person and to that experience with the video gift.
Yes.
That then when they see that physical canvas or whatever it is that they decide to purchase along with this, then it's going to trigger that memory and that response.
Yes.
So then they're going to be thinking about it and being reminded of who they are and how loved they are.
How loved they are, how seen they are, and how people view them in this positive way. Like, that's just, I mean, I think that that's another thing that you're definitely not going to want to give away in a garage sale for sure. But, you know, being able to have that everyday reminder is just really like the gift that doesn't stop giving.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful concept that came from your beautiful brain. I love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good job.
Yeah, it's been cool to see how this affects people in the very few times we've been able to do this yet, which is why we're really excited to be able to do it. A lot more here coming up. We're going to have this really awesome premiere version available shortly, and we can't wait to tell you about it. But yeah.
We hope you join us on this journey of giving good gifts and intentionality and using our words to uplift people through that.
Yeah. Join us in making it a habit. We know that you're awesome people. We know that you care just like we do. So, like, let's really do it. Let's do the things.
Yeah.
Say the things.
Do the things, say the things. Take some time to try to, this week, maybe be more intentional with how you're giving gifts, whether that's, you know, writing a note, just a simple note to someone, or sending a text, or something physical, maybe along with words of like why that physical thing made you think of them.
Yeah.
So,
and let us know in the comments. We want to know how it turned out. Tell us your stories.
Yes.
Be a part of this with us.
Yeah. We love you guys, and we hope that you follow, subscribe, and share. Send this to somebody that you know could hear and benefit from what we're talking about today, and let them know that you love them, and maybe this is your little act of a gift to somebody that's going to help them find that truth and love in themselves too.
Yeah. So until next time.
See you later.